A long time ago in old Paris town, a very tall tale was spreading around. "Oh la la, have you heard?" the people would say. "A massive giraffe is heading our way." Those are the first words, probably, you never know, of our new children's book.
Yeah, that's right.
Grace the Giraffe in Paris, the third in our Paris Animal World. For you guys who are joining us for the first time, my name is Oliver G.
I am Lina Norden G.
And this is the Earful Tower podcast, and one arm of this podcast and 4 legs is children's books.
Yeah.
And once again, if you're new around here, the way we do them is we make them, we self-publish them with the help of people who pre-order, and then they become a reality.
That's right.
So in this episode, we want to tell you the true story behind our next children's book. It's a story we both really love, Paris-related true story about a giraffe. Then we'll tell you why we made it and how you can get a copy. Also, I've got some questions for you, Lina, as you are the illustrator. The illustratrice, as they call you in France.
Yeah, that's me.
Let's talk about the true story.
Okay.
So, I think people who've listened to this podcast for years will have heard it because it's been told on the show before.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good story.
Yeah. Let's do our version of it.
All right.
So we haven't got the facts in front of us, guys, but I think we've read it enough to know more or less.
Yeah, so this is our version. No. This is the true story.
Oh, it's really important that we stress everything from now on is true. We'll tell you when we start embellishing.
Yeah.
Okay?
You probably noticed.
It's nice also to have a break from arrondissements.
In fact, the arrondissements at this point in time where the story is set did not exist in the same way, did they?
That's true.
Yeah, there were 12 of them.
That's right. 1795, 12 arrondissements.
Very good.
1860, 20 arrondissements. And this book and this story takes place between the two. I want to take everyone back to 1827. As everybody remembers, the king of Egypt was called Muhammad Ali. How could you forget?
Never.
And
he packed a punch at her.
And he gave some knockout gifts.
He sure did. To the king of France.
Yes. He had a propensity for giving out gifts. And in 1827, he wanted to spread some goodwill to some kings around Europe, I believe.
Yeah.
One of which was Charles X.
Of France.
Yeah. And he said, I'm going to send him a giraffe.
Just as you do.
Easier said than done, Muhammad.
It's an ambitious gift.
It was a silly gift, really.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a huge amount of effort and, people... And just effort.
Mostly effort. And people and cows.
Cows,
and boats.
3 of them.
But what happened, so what's cool about the story and why we focus on it for a children's book is the act of this giraffe getting to Paris and the way people went mad for it. But to paint the picture, so 1827, old King Ali, once Prince Ali probably, sends this giraffe over on a boat. The giraffe head through the port of the boat.
Yeah, they had saw even a hole through the floor.
Even that is a good image.
Effort.
But the giraffe gets to Marseille, and that's the south of France, a long way from Paris, in the north of France. And they take one look at this giraffe, and they say, we can't put her on a boat again, because then we'd have to go around Spain and Portugal and so on. She's too big to be carried by camel, which she was in the beginning in Sudan. So how do we do it? And there was a botanist there, and he said, well, we'll just walk her up there. Let's walk her to Paris. I
love it.
And there was I think they estimated it would take a couple of weeks. It ended up taking 41 days, I think. And what was exceptional about this story is that the French people, and especially the Parisians, went berserk. Now, a giraffe hadn't been in France for 300 years.
Yeah.
So not a living soul
had ever seen one.
Yeah, except I guess anyone who'd travelled, but at that time probably wouldn't
that was
have been
rare back then, wasn't it?
So the giraffe comes to Marseille. They're like, we're going to walk this thing. It would be the equivalent today of seeing an alien.
Yeah, you would travel to see one.
And people did.
People did.
So as this giraffe is walking in convoy up through the whole, like, from Marseille to Paris, through all the small towns and even the bigger towns, like Lyon, stopped in Lyon. People are flocking and going crazy.
And the rumors are spreading even faster.
Straight to Paris.
Yeah.
So there's this king, Charles. He's waiting for his giraffe. And the Parisians get wind of the story. And they're like, this is going to be the best thing.
Isn't this like the perfect, the perfect symbol of how the world see Paris and France and Parisians?
Yeah.
Like, they just go crazy for the fashion
Yep.
and,
Maybe it all started here.
who knows?
This is where we started to embellish it. No, we keep to the facts.
Sure.
So the Parisians going nuts. They're like, oh my God, a giraffe is coming
Yeah,
soon.
this is the coolest thing.
What's a giraffe? Wait till you see it. You're not even going to believe it. So they would have been talking about it. Eventually, after, as I said, 41 days, this giraffe rocks up in Paris. Pandemonium. Pandemonium.
Giraffe-mania.
Yeah, I think I read a whole book about it. This is a famous story. I think a famous story that many people don't know, though.
Yeah, I hadn't heard it.
Does that mean
before.
It's not a famous story?
Famous to some.
Yeah, famous
perhaps.
to giraffe aficionados.
Yes.
Giraffe aficionados.
Giraffe aficionado-
Giraffinados. So everyone goes bananas. This giraffe walks into town, and when I say people go bananas, it's true.
Oh yeah, the Parisians, they were, they were getting their hair arranged a la giraffe.
Yeah.
So like towering hairstyles to liken the, what do you call these little horns?
They're kind of horns, I guess.
Yeah,
like
sort of
furry
horns.
horns on a giraffe. People are wearing yellow and brown.
Yeah, and the color belly of giraffe went like super popular.
Viral.
Viral. And I haven't really been able to figure out exactly what shade it is. I can't find it, but I'm guessing like a soft yellow.
Yeah, like a duck. Like a duckling.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, this was happening.
So the giraffe arrives, pandemonium, the king gets it, everyone's really happy, even the giraffe seems happy, lives the rest of her days in a Paris zoo.
Yeah, Jardin des Plantes.
Quite a long life.
Yeah.
And fun plot twist that you can still, we haven't done this yet, but apparently you can still see this giraffe stuffed in a museum in La Rochelle.
Yeah, I think it's like his National Natural Museum.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and I've heard
in
it's
Rochelle.
underwhelming as well.
Underwhelming.
I've heard she's halfway up the stairs and kind of
Just
overlooked.
like hidden.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go there with my Pantone color code
Yeah.
and
Except
see
it
what
will be-
belly
it will be
of
faded.
giraffe.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
she'll be ghost-like by now.
Oh, maybe.
So there's the story. That's the true story. And if there was any doubt about the veracity of this story, you can still find these remnants of when everyone went nuts for it, because the giraffe was on like
Souvenirs, essentially.
oh yeah, so like plates, fans, as in the fans paper fans you keep cool with, like pottery and stuff like this. And there's even
And also their old like newspaper clips with this documented. So.
and paintings.
And paintings.
Yeah. So you can see some of that stuff in the Musée Carnavalet, one of my favorite museums in Paris.
Exceptional museum, by the way.
And that ends the true part of this story. Now I want to talk about why we want to turn into a children's books, and also about all the clues that we've been giving out. So let's get into that. So, in terms of why we turned into a book, I just want to point out that I looked something up in that little break. I found a picture of the stuffed giraffe in the Museum of Natural History in La Rochelle. You can make up your own mind on the colour.
Look at that belly.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, ghostly.
Doesn't work for a children's book.
Ghostly. But, no, I see it.
So,
Still beautiful. Nubian. Fine example of a Nubian giraffe.
speaking of facts, Nubian giraffe. Let's talk about why we made it into a children's book. But first, the name we chose was Grace.
Yeah.
And
That is not the official name.
You know why? Didn't have an official name.
Yeah, how weird is that?
When, according to the botanist, the scientist who was in charge of taking her up to Paris,
Wasn't it Saint-Hilaire?
Saint-Hilaire,
Yeah.
she was called Le Bel Animal du Roi, the beautiful animal of the king. She was also dubbed La Belle Africaine, the beautiful African. And here I also see that she was called Her Highness as a pun. because she was a royal giraffe, if you think about it.
Does
from
that
king to
work
king.
in French?
I guess. I don't know. In here, it's in English. Anyway, I know there'll be people listening who are like, what about Zarafa?
Yeah.
There was, I said I read a book about it. Shout out to American author Michael Allen, 98. He wrote a book. He called her Zarafa in that book.
So that was not the official name, but a few people refer to her.
Well,
as
she was
Zarafa.
around almost 200 years before he wrote that book.
Yeah.
So he just came up with a name. So we did the same thing. No
Yeah.
offense, Michael.
No, but we like Grace better, I guess.
Plus, it's more of a royal-sounding name.
Definitely. And a giraffe is very graceful. It's
Isn't
very
it?
fitting. Grace Kelly. It's just like a little...
And it rhymes better.
And it starts with G.
So let's talk about why we made it into a book. What
All right.
caught you about this story? Also, let's settle a debate. Whose idea was this?
Well, I feel like it was my idea.
Actually? Because
I know you feel like it was your idea.
there's something for you listeners at home. Lena and I are never sure where our joint ideas come from. Ever.
To be honest, I have no idea who came up with it.
I feel like it was me, but I also feel like it was you. but we'd heard the story a bunch of times. I saw it in the Musée Carnavalet when it opened. So that was late May.
Last year.
Late May, last year.
2021.
Yeah, and that's when we probably started talking about it. And just the idea of doing our third children's book on a real true story that's a tall tale as well.
Yeah. I mean, there aren't many, sure, there are a few, like true animal stories of Paris and of France. But this one, it really stands out, don't you think? It's like, it's got everything, and it's got that really crazy... It just sparks your imagination, I feel. Like, in terms of the illustrations, you can go completely wild when you hear the text and the facts.
Well, as an illustrator, which bits jumped out at you for making this book?
Well, I love that she wore a coat when she came to Europe.
Yeah.
And she actually wore shoes as well, apparently. And I haven't drawn the shoes, but she got a nice little coat from me. You can just go absolutely crazy, giraffe-mania, when it comes to the fashion and just imagine what the Parisians, what they were wearing, what the hairstyles looked like. There was spots and giraffe shapes everywhere.
Well, I think one of the challenges for you was the setting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because suddenly the other two books were present day.
Yeah.
How do you draw
peasy.
1827 France and
Yeah,
Paris?
suddenly I couldn't just, go outside and sit in the Tuileries or something to sketch. I just had to, I really had to do my research.
Because a lot of the famous buildings...
they didn't exist. And, the modern Parisian cafe culture that we all know and love, and the Haussmannian architecture is just not...
Haussmann was just a glint in his father's eye. I mean, actually, I don't know. Probably not. But so that was a
I bet Haussmann has never been referred to. That's an Eiffel Tower first.
Senior Monsieur Haussmann. No, but I remember when we started putting it together, that was one of the challenges for you was how but making it look recognizable.
There is no Eiffel Tower, for example. Where's the Eiffel Tower? Not there.
It was just a glint in Gustave Eiffel's.
Stop it.
No, but so that was a challenge. Knowing that we were doing a real true story, because Kai the Crocodile is a true story, but who knows what's true there.
Yeah.
Even the lady who told me that story, I think she knew what was true. But this one, there's history behind it.
There's proof, there are facts.
And there were several times in making it that we wanted to stray from the truth, but wanted to stay with the truth.
Yeah.
We wanted to stray, but wanted to stay. So we leaned towards...
stretched, but, still within the...
But I think what we did
realm.
that was kind of fun was we incorporated things that were around the same time. My favorite spread is the... can we give it away? I think we can.
I think so.
My favorite spread is the Delacroix spread. So maybe you can give it an idea to listeners what we're talking about here.
Well, this is a little passion of mine to work in actual historic events or things that happen around the same time. So when Grace or Zarafa or the giraffe was walking all the way from Marseille to Paris at the same time, Delacroix, he was working on his masterpiece that is now hanging in the Louvre Museum, which is called Liberty Leading the People. And I thought...
Just for the people who maybe don't remember what that one is. Lady standing up with a flag.
Yeah, it's like the revolution, you know. She's got Gavroche on the side and it's a pile of not very alive people under them. But yeah, I thought it would be very funny to have just like a nod. It's not obvious, but so if you know, you know. But if you don't know, it's still like a good spread and a good illustration.
The best kind of in-joke.
Yeah, so there's that one.
Hang on, but you haven't even said what it is. I will say what it is.
Should we give away
Yeah,
more?
but I mean, people who maybe don't know the painting.
Okay, how about you say how you see it?
Well, okay, so because... And something that happens when I write books, children's books, and Lina draws them, is I write it out, then she draws things that aren't in the text, and then I change the text to adapt, and then she changes the drawings to adapt.
Yeah, we kind of build, it's like, you know, is it called Jenga? You know, we build a tower together, and then sometimes we like sabotage.
The only thing is with Jenga is Jenga ends when it all falls down.
Well, we haven't seen the end of this story yet.
But what happened in this one is... and so I changed the text. So now because a big part of the children's book is the journey to Paris and how Paris goes crazy. Yeah, it's that feeling.
The arrival.
This viral fashion trend and Parisians being silly fashion maniacs and that kind of excitement. That's largely what the story is.
Yeah.
But so the text is saying something about like you'd I can't remember the text exactly, but it's like you'd fall over if you saw her walking past your window, let's say.
Yeah.
And the drawing is the interior of a big apartment, maybe Paris, and a giraffe head walking past the window. So we're obviously on the 3rd or 4th floor or whatever here, who knows, 2nd floor. Inside, though, is Eugene Delacroix painting, and in front... And one of them is reacting to this giraffe. So
you can see his painting, the Liberty leading the people being
easel,
made on the eisel.
And his sort of, not muse, but the model is this lady that's like holding a broomstick in the position of liberty with like her top slightly open. Yeah.
No, it's just like a sheet like randomly wrapped around her with some cord.
Yeah. Anyway,
so it's not very grand, but it's like funny. So
there's those kind of little nods in there. There's another one in there from Monet that I really liked.
Yeah.
But anyway, there are sort of these in-jokes in there. And in-jokes has been a big part of this book because I think people will get them over time as well. But like we focused on Liberty leading the people when we're in the Louvre. I've focused on giraffes anytime we've seen one on the Arrondissement series. Yeah,
we even had, we bought a balloon, like one of these helium balloons in Parc Monceau.
Yeah, someone guessed then.
They did?
I think it was Jodie B.
Yeah, that was a pretty blatant, like,
but I didn't share those pictures publicly. It was just for Patreon members, and I still didn't say it. And she was like, I wonder if that's the next Tuesday. But then I noticed in a more recent comment, she guessed it was a goat in the Tuileries.
Oh, okay.
Because there's been a lot of fake clues as well. But a big shout out to Amy, who not only helped with distribution on the last book, but she guessed Grace the Giraffe, the story of the gift to the king.
Yeah, incredible.
Congrats to everybody else who tried, but no one was anywhere near Amy. So well done, Amy. In terms of the text, rhyming text like the other ones, and I had a bit of fun with this one. I sort of learned from the other two because we've done a lot of events now. And
so you see what works with reading out loud and what children react to. And
text, like spoken text is always a fun one. And some pretty fun rhymes in there as well.
And we haven't talked about the ending, and I don't think we should reveal the ending because
that is what I'm proudest of.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me too.
This was definitely my idea.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like perfect.
Yeah. So we shouldn't give it away, but there's a sort of twist at the end that makes everything. It'll make you go, and it was it's beyond a stretch of the truth. Yeah. So that page...
It's like the perfect conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's like, I think people,
ridiculous. And you drew it perfectly. And we don't want to give it away because we obviously want people to enjoy it properly. Yeah. I was thinking maybe I could read another bit from the book.
Yeah, please.
One of my favourite bits, because in this Carnivale museum, which we shared this cabinet of giraffe curiosities in the video, just didn't say anything about. And obviously this could change because we haven't made the book yet. It's just ready to be printed. But I wrote halfway through the book, and the giraffe is halfway to Paris. Far, far away in the main Paris districts, arrondissement 20 to 1, the Eiffel Tower.
Oh,
No, just kidding. Far, far away in the main Paris districts, Parisian locals were going ballistic. Their excitement built up in a maddening spiral. Giraffe was a trend, and that trend had gone viral. The Parisian people went sillier and sillier and started creating giraffe memorabilia. Giraffes in the papers, giraffes on the plates, giraffe toys for children and all of their mates. Clothing with spots was filling the aisles, and towering hair was the chicest of styles.
It's so good.
That's a good collection of drawings too.
Yeah, you can just imagine the fun you can have as an illustrator.
Yeah. So that tells the story of why we made the book.
Yeah.
Now we tell the story of how you can get it. Thanks to Pres Maxim as well for the music, as usual. The Matryoshka. Hard to say. Easy to remember. The Matryoshka of music. He's people wondering why we say that. He did all the music for the last 25 episodes or something. And he plays all the instruments, and they just keep this.
No, he's got like stories within stories. Yeah. So like, he just builds in all these amazing things.
So maybe we should see if you can do a giraffe story.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
put it past him.
No. So how to get this book? There are two options. Easy. There's two options. We're going to do a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And I realize some people will be listening to this podcast way into the future, so you can ignore the Kickstarter bit. But if you're one of the people that listen early, I'm talking to you, the EiffelTower.com/Grace. I'll repeat that at the end. But that will lead to the Kickstarter site. And the idea with the Kickstarter is we self-publish these books, and they are very expensive to make. Because we don't just make one or two, we make 1,000 or 2,000. Super expensive to make, and by gauging the audience's interest, we know how many to print. The risk, of course, is if we just printed 2,000 right now, tomorrow, that would be like $20,000, and no one bought one, I would cry. I would cry.
It would be very sad.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'd cry.
Yeah.
If one person bought one.
Oh, yeah. I'd shed some tears.
We would have so many books left, though. But the idea is by pre-sales, you buy a copy cheaper than it will be in the shops. Then we go, okay, this many people, we made this much money, we'll print this many books.
Yeah, the idea is a win-win.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Also, on the Kickstarter, you have the opportunity to get more than one book. You have the opportunity to chuck in Kylie, Roger, and Grace as a trio, way cheaper than you get it in the shops. Mm-hmm. And then, and this is something that's proven popular with the other ones, let's talk about that last page.
Yeah.
This was my idea for sure.
Yeah, it was.
Except you made it you made it beautiful. In the first two books, we did a very French style way of having people put their name in the books, right? So, the idea is you put your kids or your grandkids or your own name. We print it in the books, and it's there forever. So that one time in the future, you go into a Paris bookshop or a museum, you see it there, flip to the back and go, oh, that's me, kids. Forget putting your kids' names. In Kylie, we did a big macaron tower, a croquembouche.
Yeah.
In Roger, we did the bouquiniste stand, the library on the Seine, and everyone's name were in the spines. Mm. On this one...
That was a fun one.
That was a good one. Although I think this one's even better.
Yeah,
especially because I like maps.
And you can have a bit more fun with this.
The idea for this one is the last spread is a big map of Paris, slightly fictionalized, not exact, but more or less.
Paris inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've taken out all the street names. So instead of Avenue des Champs-Élysées, it'll be Avenue de Oliver and Lina. Instead of Rue de, Rue de Rosier, you'll have Rue de Otis, or whatever you want.
Rue d'Otis,
yeah,
even.
Rue d'Otis, or Rue de Grace the Giraffe. So for obviously a more expensive book, you get your name printed in the book and a copy of the book.
I mean, who wouldn't want to have like a rue or an avenue?
Yes.
Get a rue or an avenue.
I'd go
like
for a boulevard. The only thing is we're going to do it randomly based on the size of people's names, for sure. And as with other years, we're not going to do websites or rude messages, so don't even try. You'd be surprised, Lina, what gets sent there. But those ones in the past too, they've sold out really quickly. So keep an eye on social media when we share this Kickstarter, because with Roger anyway, it's sold sold out in a matter of hours. And, that's the fun one. There's also the option to get one of Lina's illustrations on the inside cover. It'll all be on theeiffeltower.com/Grace any minute now, maybe already. And the idea, from our perspective, is that's crowdfunding to make the book. Now, having said all that, if you're listening to this in the future, or if you want to wait and pick up the book and look at it before you commit to it, the hope is, if this Kickstarter is successful, we'll print the books. And if they're like the other books we've made, they'll end up in all the bookshops in Paris, some in the States, some in Australia, and in some museums, like a shout out to the Louvre Museum.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So then you can just wait and try your chances on buying it when you come to Paris one day. So that about wraps it up, I think. It's been nice to do an episode that has been different from the last 20.
Yeah.
Different vibe.
And also so nice to finally reveal this big project.
Yeah, it's been nice to keep it secret as well.
Yeah. We've had some fun with it.
So Grace the Giraffe, if you go back and listen and watch old episodes, you'll probably realize, Lina, you even did a picture in front of the Grace Cafe in Paris saying, I'm thinking about my new children's book. Grace the Giraffe, that is the new children's book. Thanks for listening to us talking about it. Hope you like the sound of it. The Kickstarter will run for a few days. I highly recommend you check us out on social media, because we'll be talking about it for the length of the campaign, which should be just a handful of days, because we want to get on with it. theeiffeltower.com/Grace. Lina, what's your name on social media?
It is Parisian Postcards, or Parisian Postcards.
Where are we looking for that? TikTok?
On Instagram. Yes.
You're not a Facebook user?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Otherwise, the Eiffel Tower, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon.
That's right.
I even tried TikTok, but it wasn't really for me. So, Grace the Giraffe, we can't wait to bring it to you. Be sure to tell your friends. Get in on that Kickstarter and pledge for a book. If we hit the target, you'll get a book by October, maybe even September. Big promises. Let's see if we can deliver. And we can only do it with the help of you lovely listeners out there. So I will leave it in your hands, everybody. We have high hopes for this one. And we hope this tall tale gets out to the masses.
I bid you a long farewell.
Ooh, and I wonder what will be next. Au revoir, everybody, and thank you for listening as usual.
Bye.